Hello everyone, welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, and I'll be giving you 3 of my best bets for tomorrow's racing, where we'll be focusing on the racing over in France. Before I give you those selections, just want to say it wasn't a bad day for us today in the end. We had another nap winner, Bon ID, for Andre Fabre. She bolted up at Lyon. It was a very impressive performance from the daughter of Frankel, and she's definitely going to be a filly to follow throughout the season. Unfortunately, our next best, what to say, yeah, he ran okay for a way, but then in the end he just wasn't good enough, and in the end finished towards the back of the field, so that was a disappointing effort. And unfortunately our Longshot was a non-runner tonight at Gulfstream, because unfortunately the turf racing got cancelled there and all the races were going to take place on dirt, and therefore he was withdrawn, so that's why he was a non-runner tonight. Also as well, if you're not aware, I do a podcast called In the Saddle Podcast. I've been doing it now for a few months, and we released a new episode today where I spoke and interviewed jockey Joey Haynes. Really great talking to Joey. He used to be based with Carl Burke as an apprentice rider, and now he's based down in Newmarket as a freelancer. He rides for the likes of Dean Ivory, and also as well he's really involved now working with his girlfriend Chelsea Banham. She's a up-and-coming new trainer. I believe she's the youngest trainer in the UK, and it was great learning about the work he's doing there. So I'll put a link in the description box below and go and check it out and listen to all the other podcasts we've done. We've interviewed the likes of Dougie Costello, Tyler Gaffleone. We spoke to the Race and Welfare charity recently. Lots of top people in the sport, and we've got some really good interviews coming out over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and give us a follow on all our platforms, which is Spotify, iTunes and SoundCloud. Really appreciate it if you can do that for us. But enough of me waffling on. We'll get straight into the action tomorrow, and we start with my nap, which comes in the 11:40 at Dieppe with a horse called Xaaros. Now this horse is 5-2 best odds at the current time of recording, and is trained by Felipe Sorgob, I think that's how you pronounce it, and Pierre-Charles Bourdeaux is booked for the ride, riding unbelievably good at the moment. He's actually provided our last 2 nap winners, and hopefully he can make it a hat-trick tomorrow. And this horse, last time we saw it, it finished 9th in the Group 3 at Chantilly, behind the horse of Francois Henri Graffard called Wooded. That horse, Wooded, could possibly go to Royal Ascot if they're allowed over, and I think he's got a serious chance in the Commonwealth Cup. I was really impressed with him that day. But this horse, Xaaros, he's dropping into claiming company now for this race tomorrow, and that's definitely a big class drop, and he's got some good form actually. If you actually go back through his career, he's actually won with Pierre-Charles Bourdeaux when they teamed up together at Maison-Lafitte's, and that was Bourdeaux's only ride on him, so it's interesting that he's been booked for the ride. And there's a lot of horses here that are probably going to need the run, or maybe they haven't competed in quite a good as level as Xaaros has. He's had a few goes in Pattern Company, and he's probably not quite up to that level, but back down to this grade, like I said, should see him in good light. Also as well, the trainer has got a good record at the moment. He's operating at a 20% strike rate since we've resumed French racing in the last fortnight, so his stable have been in good form. And I just think at 5-2, I think it's got a very good draw tomorrow, drawn against the inside. If he can get away well, I think he should take all the beating. So that's my selection there. We then go to the afternoon and twilight card at Pau in the 4:02 with our long shot tomorrow. Currently 7-1 with bookmakers at the moment, but I don't think this will be a long shot price once we get to post time. Now this horse is trained by Francois Nicole, and Theo Chevalier is booked for the ride tomorrow. Now Francois Nicole, since French racing resumed, has been the man to follow over the jumps in France. He actually provided us with 2 winners on Friday at the card at Dieppe, and he's operating at around about a 30% strike rate at the moment. Guillaume Macaire, who's considered to be like the Willie Mullins, Gordon Elliott of France in the battles he has with Francois Nicole, his horses haven't been running that well, and you can really take him on at the moment. But this horse, Goodwin, caught my eye when I was doing work, or when I do work for Sky Sports Racing. Obviously before this lockdown I was actually watching a lot of French racing anyway. It was part of my job, and Goodwin had always caught my eye. He ran in some really good juvenile listed hurdles at Auteuil. He never won, but he made the frame on a few starts, and I put him up last time when he ran at Compiègne on the first day of French racing when it resumed after the lockdown. Unfortunately, he was brought down. It wasn't his fault. He couldn't do anything about it. Horse fell in front of him, and then subsequently he was brought down. He was well fancied in the market that day. I put him up then, but I think he's due a win, and he's a really consistent, solid horse. And this company is definitely a chance for him to break his maiden tag. He is still a maiden, but he's still lightly raced. He's only been raced on the course about 4 or 5 times. And with the yard in good form, him having good form in the bag prior to this run, I think he's got every chance of going well tomorrow. So for me at 7-1, I think he's cracking each way bet, and I'd get on that price if you can now, because I think he'll be one of the favourites come post time. We then go to the 5-12 at Pau for a nice little race here. I'm going with a horse here, which is going to be my next best, called Dr. Squeeze. Currently a 3-1 chance at the moment. It was trained by Dominique Brazou and Jonathan Plouganou, who's a Cheltenham Festival winning jockey, obviously, with winning on Easy Lands in the cross country. Is booked for the ride. Now, this horse finished 7th at Compiègne when racing resumed a couple of weeks ago, but he probably needed the run that day. And if you actually go back and watch the replay, he was barely given a hard time in the straight and actually passed quite a few horses. A bit eye-catching, I thought. But if you actually go back through his form, he's actually a graded performer. He's been running against the likes of L'Autonomie, who's a top jumper over in France. And this represents a bit of a class drop. And even though there are maybe 1 or 2 nice horses here on paper, I think Dr. Squeeze, with a recent run under his belt, will come forward for that. He's got some of the best form in this field, and I think at 3-1 he's a danger in this race tomorrow. And for me, I think he's got a very good chance of going all the way. So at 3-1, he's going to be my next best, and hopefully that can round off a good day for us. But if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel here at Lucky Loaders 15 for more videos. Also as well, you can follow me on social media using my handle at Lucky Loaders 15. You can check out my website as well, which is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. Check out the podcast. It all will be in the description box below, and also as well my record for how I've been doing since we've been doing these videos in May. So go and check it out in the description box if you haven't done so already. Please gamble responsibly, and we'll be seeing you soon.